Creature Commandos continues to disappoint and frankly just anger me. You convince me on why this is a good show. Convince me of what is the story arc. Who is the character that I'm rooting for? What is the point of the show as far as are we moving anything forward? So I didn't get to an episode 5 breakdown, so I'm going to do 5 and 6 quickly. And really, there's just not a lot here. So let's talk about it. Lesbian flirting. That's right. We're going to have something that feels awkward and inappropriate right out of the gate. Meanwhile, it's happening in front of Flag and Frankenstein because they're following their leads and how they're going to track everybody down and what are they going to do to figure out the quote mystery surrounding the princess and Circe and all of that. The episode is just riddled with goofy gags, him using a silly straw and Flag constantly trying to make phone calls, but no one knows English. No one will connect his calls. So remember those gags. Then you have the flashback sequence of Frankenstein and how he was, literally dead at some point, washed up on shore, rescued by this dog and this blind woman. And that's his backstory, which is really kind of odd because he's already dead, but he's actually bleeding and he's healing. And it's kind of odd. They don't really frame what the rules are. This is pretty much our best understanding of what the rules will be about Eric Frankenstein. And they cut back to their big search, trying to figure out the mystery, what's going on. And again, gags, goofy cut up, buddy cop type stuff, flashback sequence, old lady, back to real time. And the big reveal is that the quote lesbian opening weird scene is actually Clayface. Why? Because Clayface. Because James Gunn doesn't care that we're going to stick a Batman villain in the middle of his Creature Commandos thing. Well, why not? Just because. Makes no sense. And by the way, spoiler alert, they're not going to explain why. They're not going to explain who he's working for. They're not going to explain anything. He just is. All right, things start to kind of get unravel and get weird with the monsters showing up there to kill the princess, and they're figuring out because Flag eventually just gets through. Flag just eventually just gets through to the princess. I know all of the phone call opportunities, all that. It just took the right time and persistence, and not like, hey, I'll direct your call. She just picks the phone up. So that gag played off really well. And now we're going to have the cheeky, weird, oh, by the way, you're trying to kill somebody or not kind of stuff before we cut back to Clayface. This is when he basically just, I'm on to you, whatever. And this is where you get all of the good sort of like James Gunn. Yeah, that's what you're getting for. That's what the James Gunn kids all want to see, right? All you big James Gunnites, you just want to see that gratuitous graphic gore part in here. So we got to have that. And then, of course, Frankenstein just has to be a crazy person. Clayface just goes nuts. And we end up with this big fight scene that's cut with them fighting there with the monsters. And that's pretty much how the episode's going to play out. And you end up with just all the monsters are on the run. And Frankenstein finds Rick Flag, who we presume is dead at this point. So, I mean, I kind of was going to do a video on that, kind of expound on that a little bit, because really not much happens. And really, that's kind of the take on the whole show. Like, what's really happened? There's a princess. Go there, protect her. Oh, wait, Circe's really not trying to kill her for the reason you guys think, because she's not innocent. She's having premonitions. She's really the villain behind it all. Hey, you guys, go kill her. That made no sense. Meanwhile, Rick Flag doesn't believe it. Why doesn't he believe it? Because he banged the princess. So he runs into Frankenstein, who's stalking the bride, who thinks that Rick Flag's trying to get with the bride, but now they're buddies because somehow he'll win the bride over and Rick Flag will save the princess, and it's all about their sexual relationships. Oh, that makes sense. But Clayface is there. That catches you up. I kid you not. I love how folks are always trying to convince me that James Gunn either thinks comic book people are stupid and immature and whatever, or he's actually a fan. Because reality is, I don't care. And it doesn't matter because he just throws things against the wall. And that's what we get. This is the backstory of Dr. Phosphorus. And it's just here thrown out there in the middle of stuff. And it's kind of intertwined with them being on the run. And then what's happening with the monsters. And then the fact that Nina and now the bride are on the run together. And that's pretty much how that piece goes with the monsters. We get a quick little thing with Weasel as well, but You're going to see in this episode, everything comes to completion. The bride will become the Mary Sue. She's amazing at anything. She can kill anything. She never gets harmed. Nothing really ever happens to her. And Nina the fish girl, who's been completely useless and irrelevant, is officially the bride's purse puppy. She's just a character that's, being toted around. I'm your friend, right? No, you're not my friend. I'm your friend, right? It's just that type of trope that's being done here. Okay. And then the Dr. Phosphorus is a monster who really we should feel sorry for because he's misunderstood because this is what happened. It's like, okay. So while the bride and Nina are trying to hide out, where do they go? They hide out in a brothel. That's right. They're just going to hide out. Rick Flag is healing. He somehow survived everything that happened with Clayface. And then there's a quick little conversation that basically reveals Frankenstein. And I want to put a pin in that because it'll come up important later when Amanda Waller's talking. You're like, okay, wait, I thought we had that worked out, but here we go. And where is Frankenstein? He's hijacked another plane and he's just randomly just murdering people on the plane to get his way and do what he wants to do. And he's got this weird delusional, the bride, I will prove my love to her thing. It's just, I don't even understand enough about what James Gunn thinks the Frankenstein character is. He is literally like the uber powerful, almost like Superman level powerful simp. That's pretty much all he is. There's the backstory with Dr. Phosphorus and the wife, and it cuts back here, and we do find out that it's Rupert Thorne. There's a little chase sequence here, and then in the real time while he's on the run, he runs into this little girl. Weasel runs into some wolves, kind of learns to hang out with the wolves, and then they're back to the brothel. So it literally is just time being chewed up, like just time is just spinning. Things are happening and we don't really care because there's no stakes. Nothing really ever matters in this show. There's no real character. What's the character development? The bride proves that she's Nina's friend, kind of, even though she's just still like the witch. Rick Flag's on operating table. Frankenstein's still a simp. Like, what has really changed in the show? The audience learns a little bit about some of their backstories. I don't know. I'm sure we're supposed to care that they bastardized Rupert Thorne. Rupert Thorne is this great little sort of like grounded villain and everything, but here he's just reduced to the guy that, turns Dr. Phosphorus into this being that, can just consume things. And then we cut away from that because we have to get back to the brothel scene, and they have a metahuman John that's there abusing one of the hoes, and the madam here on the left stands up, and of course you know how this is going to go. Nina's going to stir it up, and then the bride's going to intercede, and it turns into chaos, and it turns into her ripping his heart out, barely getting hurt. She gets her clothes ripped off. That's the extent of what actually happens in this sequence as they exit the can together, and you're like, there she is. She's just now half naked. Like that. Are there themes that you're picking up on? Like the juvenile nature of all this? Like literally James Gunn is giving you the teen boy, fanboy, nerd, loser stereotypes. That's all you get, and then virtue signaling with the whole Mary Sue and the little token girl and just this is Weasel. He realizes he can't stay with the wolves. And then we cut back to Dr. Phosphorus's origin and killing the Rupert Thorne, which is just stupid and god awful, but only gets worse because then he becomes this weird overlord where we end up with like some sort of strange dancing and all of that kind of stuff here. And you're like, oh God, this is terrible. And then of course there's a quick shot that everyone will talk about. This is all anyone will talk about is the shot with Batman in the rafters. And then we cut to that spot. Remember, I talked about Amanda Waller earlier? It's like, oh my gosh, Rick Flag, please survive so I can find out what happened to you. And she is just this awful, awful character being. First off, I don't understand how she just names drops that she runs Argus at the hospital like everyone knows. So I guess Argus is the equivalent of like CIA. It's not really covert after all. And by the way, all of her actions that she's doing don't appear to be in secret when she just takes Rick Flag to a regular hospital. So much for keeping the M program and all the things that she was not supposed to be doing with the Suicide Squad under wraps, because clearly that's just what she does. And by the way, she's already the villain because she's doing exactly what they were hunting Circe down for doing, murdering the princess, with them slow walking in an animated show. I kid you not. I was like, wait, is he just doing the Tarantino slow walk thing? Yeah, that's pretty much what he does. He just does the Tarantino slow, like, I, I was like, God is this show. The show is such a waste of our time. It is just, I'm so disappointed because I was the one defending Gunn and Creature Commandos, thinking that this was right up his alley of doing a Suicide Squad thing. It was kind of like getting the ball rolling for his version of the DCU. And then when he announced that he was directing Superman, I was like, oh no, I don't see that at all. And I thought, well, maybe he's going to just govern over. No, he's going to be knee deep. And oh, it's so terrible. It is just this. You know what I'm going to say? It is, maybe I've said this in previous videos or not. It is the fake Marvel fans. It's what we had once Marvel exploded on the scene, and then suddenly all of us comic book and superhero fans were surrounded by people in their t-shirts and their Funkos. And it's, I've been a fan forever and I love all this Marvel stuff and oh my God type stuff. James Gunn is kind of like that. That's how I feel. I feel like, and that's what he's perpetuating. That's what DC has and Warner has bought from getting James Gunn. They didn't buy someone who is going to adapt and tell really good stories or something really meaty or something that will garner so much interest it'll make DC Comics take off and they'll sell merch and they'll make all this money and the box office will soar. No, they bought fake, phony fandom. That's what they got. Creature Commandos is for fake and phony fans, and that's what we're going to get. Instead of Snyder Bros, now you'll have Gun Bros. If we don't already have that, apology. Well, I see it in the comments already. We get some of that, but it's just started because once Superman comes along, it's going to be all the cameos and the moments, not the fact that there won't be a story. That's my prediction. Superman is going to be this Midland movie with these great moments, action things. Didn't you see what Hawk Girl did, or this shot with Guy Gardner, or whatever? And then it's like, all these fans, we can't win. We can't get anything. They get what they want, but then they don't like it and they won't turn out or whatever. In reality, there's just no story. There's just no story. And Superman won't be heroic or something. There'll be something. 100%. There's just no way. The guy, we were wasting our time. I didn't even know this wasn't the finale. I literally thought there were 6 episodes. I guess there's another episode. I'm like, dear Lord, it's still not over. But I guess we got to go and decide if we're actually going to kill the princess or not, or there'll be another twist. And I think we're running out of characters, so it's got to be Nina's backstory next week. So that's what we're going to end with. So am I off base? Do you guys love this show or not? You guys can let me know in the comments. You guys can let me know. Do you think that this will get better? Do you think that Commandos season 2, because I'm assuming Creature Commandos season 2, we're gonna watch this again. I'm gonna be there with you. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Pops.